Okay, hello. This is Greg Williams, and I want to talk a little bit about file formats for the web. This seems to be an area where we get a little bit of confusion. There are basically three file formats we're going to use this month. There is the CompuServe GIF, the JPEG, and the PNG. So let's take a look real quickly. On this particular image, what I have is I have a lot of big blocks of text and only a very few number of colors. I also have a very solid background. So when I get closer in on this, we can see what actually starts to happen to a document over time. See this edge right here on as the pixels blend from solid color to black? We've got all sorts of stray colors going on there. That's called anti-aliasing. Computer programs do that to help smooth out the jaggedy edges that come from the fact that pixels are square, and so that they blend in just a little bit closer to the background and make it look smoother. Unfortunately, sometimes we see those in the form of halos, and we're going to try to get rid of those when we drop it into our web page. Because I have long blocks of solid colors, this image, to me, looks like it should be saved as a CompuServe GIF. Wow, that was kind of funny. I don't know if you saw that or just me. So I'm going to go up to my web page and go File, Save for Web. Going to set that to a GIF. We have all sorts of different settings here. Now, because the CompuServe GIF was created in the late 80s, at that time color monitors could only produce about 256 colors. Actually, not even about 256 colors, exactly 256 colors. And so it's an indexed file format, meaning we don't have the full range of every color. In fact, if we look over here at this color table that's associated with this file, we have exactly 188 colors that make up this two-color file. Remember that anti-aliasing I was talking about? Well, that's where that kicks in. If we were to zoom in about 1,000% here, we would see that, actually, let's zoom in even closer than that, 1,600%. You'll see that we start to go from red to a slightly darker red to a much darker red to a really, really dark red. See it a little better right across there. And that's the anti-aliasing taking effect. Now, GIFs shrink as we lose color. And so what we're looking at, and why we chose this as a GIF, I just got bigger than life. All right, I hope I'm back in the screen. I'm not sure that I am. Sorry about that. Okay, hopefully I've shrunk it down enough so that we can see the whole screen again. So we're going to, in here, look at a few different things. The first thing is we're going to reduce the number of colors that we're working with. When we reduce the number of colors, the file size should shrink. The reason being, at the beginning of that file, the computer actually writes a color table, and then it says color 1 times certain number of pixels, color 2 times a lot of pixels, color 3 times. And so the fewer colors it has to read, the larger the blocks of compression. And so if I knock it all the way down to 2, yeah, that's really ugly. But we also got really small. These are the only two colors in it. And you can see that we have issues with the edges. So I'm just going to take my arrow button while I'm in the color and just go up. I'm just pushing up, and what I'm doing is I'm just moving up until I find something that looks good. I don't have to keep going on or guess this number or guess that number. Just put your number on the up and down arrows and find something that looks good, okay? So that's the number of colors. We still have a fairly small sized GIF. Actually, we're about 5.7K, and even over a phone modem, that image would load in about 2 seconds over Wi-Fi or whatever you're using at the moment. That probably loads in well under a second, which is good. We have how's it choosing the colors? We can either be selective, which is what we just did. We can be perceptual. I want it to figure out what it thinks I'm seeing and how it thinks I should display that. It actually knocked, I think, up my color count, didn't it? Adaptive. And again, we see some changing down here. And it's going to adapt to the environment or to adapt to the monitor that I'm working on. More restrictive, I can say, hey, I only want these certain colors to show up. And looking at this, I found that perceptual with 27 colors seemed to give me the best look, so we'll go with that. We also have diffusion. What diffusion does, it mixes 2 or more colors together very closely to give the illusion of creating additional colors beyond that. So no dither, and again, I'm probably going to need to zoom way in here for you. Versus a diffusion dither, I'm not really even seeing it much. Yeah, okay, maybe I'm too zoomed in. Okay, because it's solid colors, we're not going to really see much, but it's how it's going to mix 2 solid colors to give the illusion of additional colors. I'm just working with red and black, so I really am not getting much of anything. It doesn't much matter here right now. Okay, transparency. Do I want to have transparent colors? Yes. I don't really want that black background. So I'm going to actually come over here. I'm going to grab the black background and come down here to make that transparent. Hey, really cool, except look at those lovely black edges. Yeah. That's where the anti-aliasing has created those in-between colors with various shades of black. I can go through and I can actually pick another color and make it transparent, and then pick another color and make it transparent. Spend about half the day trying to get all of them knocked out. Command Z. Let's bring that one back. Okay, that was the big one. So, enough playing with that. We can also lock certain colors to make sure as we shift around, we don't accidentally drop them. Shift selected colors to web palette. Please don't worry about the web palette. Again, that was back in the days when we had 256 colors. Every monitor today can show 16 million colors. Use them. They're there. Unless there's a reason, even cell phones today aren't limited to 8 colors in most cases, or 256 colors in most cases. You don't need to worry about that web palette. Okay? So what I'm looking at is making transparency. Now, that's going to be fine if it blends in against a black background, but what if it's blending in against a white background? I'm going to get this ugly shadow look, right? So that's where matte comes in. And in this case, I want it to blend into white. Okay. Fusion. All right. And that's all good. I don't need it to snap. How lossy do I need it? That's not going to change anything really today. And convert to that. So, oops. And so what I'm getting ready to do here, when I save it, it's going to matte out these blendable colors so that it actually doesn't get that little halo. And so we're going to say, oh, let me hit the other buttons here just so that we know. Convert to sRGB. We work with color profiles, and what we do every day. Our monitors have certain color profiles. Web browsers, with the exception of Safari, do not support embedded color profiles. I can spend all day getting perfect color correction. If somebody views my image on Internet Explorer, they are going to get a shift in that image because Internet Explorer, Firefox, and Chrome do not support embedded ICC or color profiles. They all, by default, work with sRGB, which is a smaller color environment and or color profile, if you will. And so we're always going to use that when we're going to the web, unless we know for sure that our users are working in a color critical situation and therefore actually have Safari, and then we'll worry about whether we're attaching our color profile or not. So we're going to convert to sRGB. I'm going to show right now my monitor color. We can look and see what the average user does. If we had a different document profile attached, this is what it looks on the older Macs. It's pretty close. Some people who have Windows machines are going to have a slightly different gamut. You'll notice that there's that for us, Windows machines the color looks a little darker. To them, Macs look just a little bit brighter. So we can do that. We can also include inside that file some basic information. I like to include in my files copyright and contact information to make sure that if somebody steals it, they at least know who they stole it from in case they want to purchase the rights to it later. Okay, so that being that, and we can hit done. And if we were to go drop that in somewhere, what we're going to see is an image like that where we have a transparent background. Okay. When it comes to making transparent backgrounds, yes, it is easier to make it against a transparent background. What happens when I have a background color, we actually see the blending in towards black versus the blending in towards clear there. So if you know that you can make a transparent GIF, start it off with a transparent background. Create all your image up here on a separate layer or group of layers. Okay, you're going to find out that it makes your life much, much, much easier doing it that way. Okay, so while we're on the CompuServe GIFs, and I have not tried it in this version, I'm using Adobe CC at the moment. I can go to Timeline, and I'm going to create a frame animation, I hope. So I'm going to, I wonder what that button is. Okay, so anyway, I don't know what that flashing is coming across my screen. So I want this to start off like this, but then what I want it to do is take this one and have it actually, V for move, there. See it bouncing back and forth. And I don't want it just to do it once, I want it to do it forever. And I want it to do it, let it hold 1/10 of a second. So now we have an animated GIF. As long as we save that, and all we're doing is turning layers off and on and adding frames for them. We can change layer effects as we go forward. Gee, as it bounces over here, I want that one to have, I don't know, some sort of drop shadow on it, and a texture, and a gradient overlay. Soft light mode. Okay, and on the next frame, before it comes all the way back over here, we turn the effects off. So you can see it lasting a little longer on the left. And that's how you go about creating an animated GIF. Okay, so that brings us to the end of GIFs. We're going to go ahead and close this file because I'm done with it. I'll save. And oh, hey, there's Stacy, for those of you who've heard me talk about her, giving me the eye. I'm sure I'm in trouble for something. This is a photograph. And so what we want to do is we want to actually post this to the internet. It's already sized. We're at 100%. It's already sized at 72 pixels per inch. Image size. Okay. We know it's 640 pixels by 424. By the way, even though we know that web images are 72 pixels per inch, what we're really looking for in this case is the total number of pixels. We can't control the resolution on somebody's screen. So even though the image resolution is, the display resolution is 72 pixels per inch, we're worried more about having the correct number of pixels up there. So as you're designing, crop your images to fit your design. I'm going to assume that this is supposed to be 640 by 424 on my screen. If I had actually developed a web page, I would know exactly what size I want that and would have cropped the image to be exactly that size. So now when we go into File, Save for Web, we're going to look at the stage. Ooh, what a terrible thing. And that, my friends, is why we do not use GIFs. Look at all that banding going on there. Did you see her face just become this terrible if we were to zoom in? God, she'll never talk to me after this one. Yeah, okay. See all that lovely banding taking place? By the way, when I mentioned dithering, here is dithering taking place. Diffusion dither, pattern dither, and noise dither. And you know what? None of those are going to look good. Just saying. Unless you're going for a special effect of some sort, none of those are going to give you the right answer. GIFs are not made to show photographs. JPEGs are made to show photographs. I'm still at 200%, and even though I can see a little pixelization, I do not see much, so 100% here. And if I look, I've brought this original image down to a 10-second download over phone modems, or about 51K. Used to say that my goal was to get that front page image along with all the accompanying HTML down even further. We used to shoot for 30 to 40K. You know, if you're at 60K, you're probably okay. If you're getting at 100K, you're probably getting a little large. We never want our users to wait, especially on the home page. And so the tighter we can make those images, the crisper we can, the better we can do our optimization, the faster they load, the happier our clients and our viewers are. Over here you'll notice that we have a quality setting on that JPEG. I could take that, and at the moment it's 51K, I can take that all the way down to 10K. Did you see how her face just kind of got ugly? Sorry, Stacy, not ugly. The image of her face kind of fell apart. If I took it up to 100% compression, yeah, nice and crisp, and I can see the details in those eyes, but now I'm 197K. And so from 10K to 197K, we've got a lot of range there. You can handle this similar to how we handled the GIF. We can put it at 0, and we can just sit there with our finger and say, okay, is it good enough yet? Is it good enough yet? Is it good enough yet? Okay, maybe somewhere in there is getting pretty good. It's not perfect. I see her eye lightening up just a little in there, but somewhere about in there is probably not bad. And I'm at 45K. It's better, a lot better than it was when I had a 10% quality. It's good enough that it's not noticeable that it's different than the 100% quality. However, sometimes we can do that, and sometimes we're just not sure. So Photoshop gives us up here a way to look at up to 4 different settings at one time. So here's my original image. Here's my JPEG set at 53% quality. And here it is set at 26%. I'm going to take that actually on down a little bit to about 10 or 11%. Saw a little movement there in the image. And then that last one, I'm going to take up to 100% for demonstration purposes. Can you see that much difference in the 4 images? If I look really hard, I can tell that there's some difference in the images. Are any of them so bad I'd never use them? Probably not. Now this one's the smallest, and so if I come back over and look at that one as an optimized image, can I use that on the web? Yeah, it's not perfect. I see a little bit of splotchiness there, so I may not want to use that particular one, but I'll go back to my 4 up, and let's look at this one right here. That was the 7. Let's look at this 15 compared to the 7. Actually, we can just, and we're saying, yeah, okay, that's a little bit better in there. Actually, I'm going to take it up to 25 and see if it improved. Not bad, not bad. If you didn't have something to compare it to, would it be okay? Yeah, it's fine. Again, we can take it up to 100, and can you tell that difference? Not really. When I take it down, I can start to see the clouds on the side of the face. But basically, somewhere in that 25 to 30 range, I get a pretty good image. I'm at 22K. It's nice and small and tight, and off we go. By the way, one of the advantages of uploading compressed images is that people do decide to borrow my or your work. They can't blow it up very large because when we compress with a JPEG, it's a lossy format, so we throw information away. That's why when you try to enlarge a JPEG off the internet, you start getting all sorts of pixelization and strange things happening. Over here we have an option. Do we want to make this a progressive image? And you may or may not have seen that. What will happen, it will actually load from top to bottom in multiple passes depending on what our settings are, and so it will come through, and she will gradually, as the image comes in, get clearer and clearer and clearer in the computer screen. We do that especially for large images so people know what's coming while the rest of the information slowly fills in and the image improves on a gradual basis. That's what the progressive is. The embed color profile, again, we know that we need to switch to sRGB, but do we need to embed that information in there? No, don't do it. There's no reason to do it. Unless, of course, you're sending your images to somebody who's viewing in Safari and is going to be able to take advantage of your color calibrations, at which point you're not going to convert it to sRGB. Yeah, you notice how the orangeness, the vibrancy went down a little on this image as I'm bouncing to and from sRGB. Not much, but just a little bit. Again, I'm going to keep copyright and contact information in. And now here comes an interesting thing, because we hear a lot of people saying, well, I use PNGs all the time. PNGs weren't really made for images. They were made for when we have text and images together and or vector images, although sometimes GIFs are the better answer. PNGs do not use a lossy compression. They use a more or less lossless compression. But when we look at the difference between a PNG 24 and the JPEG that we were just at, the JPEG we arrived on is 22K, which takes about 5 seconds on dial-up. The PNG 24 is 376K and takes 69 seconds. Which one are your viewers going to prefer? And we kind of already know the answer to that. If the image looks close to the same, they really don't. They would really rather download it, 15 times faster. PNGs were not made for images. So don't get in the habit of saying, oh, everything needs to be PNG. It doesn't. In most cases, it's not what you want to do. And if we want to compare the quality, we certainly can come in here and do that. Let's put a PNG 24 against a medium JPEG. Now, which one was which? Oh, look at the file sizes. Yeah, okay, now I can tell. 69 seconds versus 5 seconds. I know which one I want to use, right? Okay. Because JPEGs shrink by throwing information away, the more times you shrink them or more times you compress them, the more information you're going to lose in the process, and eventually the image is going to degrade. If you're going to Facebook and you have time to wait for your images to upload, Facebook and some other online services are in the habit of turning all of your images into JPGs to fit their particular format, which is fine. Thank you. I appreciate it. But if I've already thrown away data, now I'm going to have Facebook throw away more data, we're going to start getting a compromised image. And so for places like Facebook, I will actually upload a PNG because I know that it's going to sit around and get recompressed as a JPEG, and I don't really want that double compression taking place. But when I'm putting it on the web and I'm managing the site and the images, I will make sure that I use the appropriate image, which in this case is going to be a JPEG. Okay, so that's a little bit about how we go about saving our files. We can hit save when we're done. And save optimized as is JPEG, and I'm not going to save it today. And then we can add it to our websites. Okay, that's a little bit about GIFs, JPEGs, and PNGs. I'm done. And let's see if I can find my way out of this, and I'll say thank you very much for watching. Or I just may sit here and stare at the screen for a while I'm trying to figure out how to close it now.